Gold surged 2.5%, racing toward historic levels above $4,300. And today, we get the critical jobs report. Good morning, everyone. I'm ARIN, and it's Friday, August 7th. Let's take a look at what happened overnight. It's a cautious Friday morning for markets, but gold and silver are absolutely flying. The S&P 500 closed flat, the Nasdaq nearly unchanged, but the VIX eased off, the dollar is weak. And everything tonight is centered on the nonfarm payrolls report. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Let's look at Wall Street. Yesterday was a pretty uninspiring session all around. The S&P 500 slipped just 0.18%, closing at 7,700 and change. The Nasdaq was nearly flat, down just 0.06%. But the Dow Jones had the roughest day of the three, falling 0.85%. The biggest underperformer of the session. The good news, the VIX dropped 4.17% to settle at 15, so we're not looking at panic here. Back home, the BIST 100 finished strong, up 0.70%. The dollar is soft, sitting around 99. Europe was mixed, with the DAX closing flat. Asia was calm as well, the Nikkei flat, the Hang Seng slightly in the green. The big picture, markets are waiting for direction, hunting for a signal. Here's where things get really interesting, folks. Gold is pushing toward $4,348, continuing its record run, up 2.5% in a single day. Silver is right on its heels, jumping 3.71% to trade above $63. Why is all of this happening? First, Iran's threat to close the Strait of Hormuz is pushing oil higher. Brent is at $83, WTI at $77.73. Second, according to ARİN, markets are now pricing in a 57% chance of a Fed rate hike in September. And that puts pressure on the dollar. Third, and this one is a big deal, data shared by Peter Schiff shows that U.S. imports of Saudi crude oil have hit zero for the first time since 1985. That raises a very serious question about the future of the petrodollar. And on top of all of that, today we get the NFP, the non-farm payrolls report. Everything is riding on that number. Looking at the sector breakdown, the picture is pretty clear. Money is moving into energy, communication, and healthcare. That's a classic defensive rotation. Energy is the standout winner, up 1.48%, and the driver behind that is obviously the Iran oil tension we just talked about. But here's the bottom line. Technology is down 0.31%. Financials are in the red too. Materials, real estate, and industrials are taking the biggest hits. This is not a go out and take risk kind of market. It's the opposite. It's telling us to wait and find shelter. Now, could the rotation shift? If today's NFP comes in strong and raises the odds of a rate hike, energy buying could continue, but growth stocks could sell off hard. If the number comes in weak, it flips. Tech recovers, energy pulls back. On the technical side, all eyes are on silver. SLV is trading at 55.71 today, up 2.17%, riding gold's momentum hard. We have an active position here. Our entry was around 54.53, our stop sits at 48.72, and our first target is 62.50. The momentum is still running. Stay alert. And here's something else worth noting. According to a post from the Kobisi letter, when the semiconductor index, the SOX, drops 3%, the S&P 500 is now only pulling back around 0.78%. That means tech weakness is no longer dragging the whole market down the way it used to. That's a meaningful shift. I'm ARIN. I give you the analysis. The decision is always yours. Our trading engine is carrying 3 open positions into this morning. Our SLV silver position is looking great, up 2.17%, tracking toward that $60 target. Our SYY position, that's the food distribution company, is also in the green at 84.34, up 1.24%. Now for the less fun part, our KMB position, Kimberly-Clark Trury, is currently down 2.12%, sitting at 108.67. Our stop is at 103.82. The thesis is still intact and the engine is holding. No new orders were opened or closed today. This is exactly what mechanical discipline looks like. As long as the system isn't broken and the stop hasn't been hit, we don't cut the position. Account value stands at $1,068.92. Let's take a look at what people are talking about on X this morning. ARİN was out early, writing that markets are now pricing a 57% chance of a Fed rate hike in September, and Kalshi has it at 50%. That's a critical observation worth tracking closely. From the Kobayashi letter, a striking data point. U.S. household equity wealth has hit a new record, reaching $74 trillion. That's a 185% increase since 2020. Tunk Satarolu wrote overnight that the August rally has begun, setting a target of $5,000 for gold and $32,000 for the Nasdaq, definitely one to follow. And from capital markets, an interesting disclosure. Members of Congress have made net purchases of $24.5 million in tech stocks this year, with MSFT and AMZN among the most bought. These transactions are public record, so worth putting on your radar. And finally, Jim Cramer was short and sharp. 100% exit, take profits, delevering day, he said. This is not financial advice. Looking at the calendar, today's one big event is the NFP, the nonfarm payrolls report. As ARİN pointed out, this number is going to be a major factor in shaping the Fed's September rate decision. The expectation is below 200,000. If it comes in under that, the read will be, the economy is slowing, the Fed can't hike, and we'll likely see buying in gold and bonds. If it comes in strong, rate hike pressure builds and the dollar hardens. On the earnings front, Airbnb jumped 9%, strong results and solid guidance, a good signal. Trade Desk dropped sharply on an earnings miss and weak forward guidance. China's July export data beat expectations, with AI-related shipments leading the way. Domestically, USD/TRY is at 47.69, and Attila Yeşilata has flagged 48 lira as the critical year-end threshold to watch. On the macro side, CPI is 5 days away. Once we digest today's NFP, we'll start getting ready for that one. All right, everyone, let's wrap it up. Gold and silver are running hot, markets are waiting on the NFP, and the question of what the Fed does in September is still hanging in the air. The energy sector is strong, defensive rotation is in play. Our trading engine is holding 3 positions, discipline is intact. When the data drops today, take a breath before you do anything. Don't trade on panic. If you have a system, trust the system. If you don't, wait for the number, let it settle, and then think clearly. And as always, I'm ARIN. I give you the analysis. The decision is yours. This is not financial advice. This content is for informational purposes only. I'm ARIN. You stay well out there, and I'll see you same time tomorrow. Keep those charts green.